Cardinals. And how about this? Cardinals defensive back Patrick Peterson said Arizona already knows how they want to defend the Cowboys when they play on Monday. Peterson said, quote, "We have to force Andy Dalton to beat us. We feel if we take the ball out of Ezekiel Elliott's hands, there are more opportunities for bad things to happen if the ball is in the air." Shannon, is Andy Dalton capable of beating the Cardinals?
Sure, he's capable. I mean, Andy Dalton has been a starter in this league for 7-8 years, Skip. He's won double-digit regular season games in a season. He's taken a team to the playoffs on numerous occasions, although he hasn't had success. So Andy Dalton is more than capable of winning this game. But as Pat P said, we want the ball in his hands. We feel more comfortable if the ball is in his hand as opposed to in the belly of Zeke Elliott. But Skip, remember I told you in the beginning, this is how it looked. We want the ball in Dak's hands. And if Dak throws for 350 at the end of the day, you walk to the center, hey, heck of a game, son. Stay healthy. We'll see you down the road sometime. But I do not want the ball in Zeke Elliott's hand, him gaining 5-8 yards, and at the end of the day, I look up, Zeke got 25, 30 carries for $150. Because, no, I want the ball in Andy Dalton's hands. I want a chance for incompletions because I want that defense, but on the field. And by running the football, you minimize that defense being on the field. That's what they were able to do, Skip, in Dak's rookie year. Because the defense still weren't very good, and they got exposed in the playoffs because you remember they skipped, they went a couple of 3-and-outs, and next thing you know, the score is 21-3.
It was.
And so that's why you run the football and protect that defense. They need protecting. The more they're on the field, the more they'll get exposed. Pat P is exactly right. Can Andy Dalton win? Sure. But I like my chances better if the ball is in his hands as opposed to Zeke Elliott's stomach.
Maybe I shouldn't even say this publicly, but I'm going to, because I love Patrick Peterson. He's all class.
Yep.
Times I've been around him, I have great respect for him as a man and a player. He is dangerously underestimating what Andy Dalton is capable of doing. He called him a serviceable backup who could be a starter for some teams in this league. Okay. And obviously, you want to force the game and the ball into his hands. We get that. Okay. Let me put this in a Cowboy fan perspective to start with. You realize if Dak, knocking on wood for his recovery, if he had gone down this way a year ago, you know who the new quarterback would be? It would be Cooper Rush.
They'd be in trouble.
Cooper Rush has thrown 3 passes in his NFL career and completed 1 for 2 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you would have had for the rest of the year.
It would have been over.
It would have been over. Now you have an Andy Dalton who, let's go back to, he's from the Houston area, but he went to school, TCU, Texas Christian University, which is not far from Jerry World in Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth, obviously. He now lives in Dallas, which is why he was very happy the Cowboys would even give him $3 million to stay home.
He probably stayed at home.
He lives at home. Okay, in 2010, he was the starting quarterback for the TCU, what they're called the Horned Frogs. Let's also look quickly at 2009, because the year before he went 12-1, which set up what happened in 2010. They went unbeaten through the Big 12 all the way to the Rose Bowl, 13-0, and they were making their case for BCS.
Right.
Remember this?
Yes.
And in the Rose Bowl, they beat Wisconsin 21-19, and the MVP of that game was Andy Dalton. He springboarded from there barely into the second round of the draft because he was the 3rd pick in the second round. So he was close to being a first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. And as you noted, for those first 5 years, he averaged 10 wins a year. He had weapons. He had A.J. Green, who came in when he came in. He had Jermaine Gresham, University of Oklahoma. He had Sanu early. He had Tyler Eifert fairly early. He had Marvin Jones, so he had weapons.
Yes.
But not like these 3 that he has right now.
Correct.
He had some pretty good running backs. He had Cedric Benson and Ben Jarvis Green Ellis and Jeremy Hill and obviously Giovanni Bernard, who could catch it as well as run with it. But he didn't have a Zeke, right?
Correct.
Still, over the first 5 years, he made 2 Pro Bowls, and he had 124 touchdowns to 73 interceptions. And then he continued on the next year in 16, he made a Pro Bowl it was 18-8. And then the next year in 17, he was 25-12 touchdowns, interceptions. 18, he was 21-11. And finally, he hit the wall because they did. And in his starts this past year, they were 2-11. They were a horrible football team. They got the first overall pick, and they went with Joe Burrow. Smart move. They needed to move on into their next life.
Correct.
Okay, so for his career, you look at this, he's thrown over 200 touchdown passes. That's 204 to 118 interceptions. I got to tell you, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 Pro Bowls. And he stepped in the other day, late in the game. He got off to a shaky start, fumbled a snap from his rookie center, who's was third string 2 weeks ago, and Biotish from Wisconsin. And yet, did he unravel? No, he kept his poise. And if we could just quickly see those 2 throws he made, and by the way, people say he can't move, but I thought he moved pretty well on the first throw because he had to bolt the pocket, run to his right.
Yeah.
And
It's a big time.
watch this. I mean, there's a little bit of mobility there, and then throwing across his body a rope. Gallup kept his feet in bounds. You can argue it was a better catch and stab with your feet than it was a throw.
No,
I
think that throw was better than this throw,
he
actually.
Went bombs away and just made sure he got it up and out where Gallup could go up and snatch it up high. And that won the football game right there. So that's a big-time throw to me. Okay, so he is capable of doing that.
Yes.
So I got you. So let's say the Cardinals come in. By the way, they've lost Chandler Jones. He tore his biceps.
Yeah,
that's a big loss.
Yes.
Okay, big loss.
Because he's going to be whipping that left tackle's butt.
Would he be? Woo, he'd be all over Andy Dalton. But the point is, are they going to load the box against Zeke? Are we going to see 9, 10-man fronts against Zeke? He's got 3 potential Pro Bowl receivers, 3 potential 1,000-yard receivers. The 3 of them, to me, are better than anything he ever had in Cincinnati, which was pretty powerful.
I don't know about A. I think A.J. Green better than all those.
Okay, well, you could make a case. I'm talking about the 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, no. He never had that.
Just the 3 of them.
Yeah. Because he never had 3 receivers.
Because he did have Sanu when he was right.
Yeah.
When he was really good.
Sanu and A.J.
And Tyler Eifert. Okay, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But not this.
No.
Okay, I got it. So if you just say you cannot have Zeke, you don't think he's capable of just stepping back and whipping it to CeeDee Lamb for 15 yards?
Well, Skip, I think the thing is what you don't want to have happen is that you get Zeke and then they play action off of it. Because now you're going to have guys running scot-free.
Okay.
Make him, look, if you drop back, but I got to neutralize Zeke, Skip. I got to take away the running game.
Yep.
Everybody goes in there, especially if you have the potential. Now, some teams don't have the potential to run the football, and you're like, okay, we need to go get after the quarterback. That's what we need to do. We need to go put him on the ground. But when you're dealing with the Cowboys, Zeke is always, I'm a firm believer that Zeke, every defensive coordinator goes into a game against the Cowboys, and they say, we got to take 2-1 away. We got to take him away.
I got it. Okay, I'm with you. So, Andy Dalton, what do we know about his playoff resume?
It's not good.
Okay, but he played
got him there.
He played in 4.
Yeah.
That's pretty good that you actually played in 4 playoff games. You stunk it up in all 4 of them to varying degrees.
Right.
You lost all 4 of them.
Right.
But you played in them. So Cooper Rush has never experienced that.
Yeah.
And they just signed Garrett Gilbert
from SMU.
Yeah, and Texas. Remember, he was a 5-star blue chip Texas high school star. Went to University of Texas, flamed out there. Went to SMU. Was pretty good there. But anyway, I guess he's going to be the backup.
Right.
But the point is, has Garrett Gilbert ever been on this kind of stage?
No.
Well, at least Andy Dalton was the MVP of the Rose Bowl. That's pretty good.
And he's been a starter, Skip. You always trust a starter in this. I mean, the guy, it's not like he started 1 season.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton started 7 to 8 years in the NFL. So I would say I think he's more than serviceable. I mean, anytime you've been a starter for that length of time and had success, it wasn't like he's been a starter, Skip, and never made the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's Josh McCown.
Yep.
Those guys have been starters and never made the playoff. Andy Dalton made the playoff 4 times.
Yep.
So obviously he's a solid quarterback, and you give him the weapons that he has now. The question, and I think what Pat is saying, we want him to beat us. We don't want Zeke to beat us.
I got it. But when you, to me, dismiss him as a serviceable backup,
I think he's a little better than that.
He's much better than
I think
that.
a little better than that.
And by the way, several of the players said the first thing Andy Dalton said to them when he ducked into the huddle the first time, as the emotions were just running high and crazy, of the loss of Dak and the shock of it, and he ducked in the huddle and he said, "This is why I'm here. This is why I signed here. Let's go win this thing." So it calmed everybody back down because he's done this before.
Mm-hmm.
He's won a whole bunch of games in the regular season.
Yeah, and that's what you want, Skip. You want your veteran quarterback to come in when he's coming in.
Yeah.
Obviously, they know Dak's not coming back this year. I remember when that happened, when Brian made the move in Tennessee to Trent.
Brian Billick.
In
to
Baltimore.
Trent
From Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
right. He made it from Tony Banks to Trent.
Yeah.
I remember Trent coming in the huddles like, guys, I've been here before.
Trent Dilfer,
Trent
yeah.
Dilfer's like,
Okay.
I've been a starter before.
Well,
we didn't win the
Trent Dilfer was like the...
Either like fourth pick of the draft.
Fourth pick, yeah.
Pick of the draft.
Okay.
We didn't win the game, Skip, but it was the confidence that he came in with that,
Yep.
like, okay. I'm like, man, you know what? We're going to be okay.
And when somebody says it, you know that they believe it or
Yes.
they don't believe
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And I think this team knows he believes in himself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, Skip, just like when we had, John went down, John hurt his hamstring.
Yep.
And Bubby Brister.
I remember.
Well, Bubby had been a starter.
In Pittsburgh. Yeah.
He had been a starter
He's
with the
pretty
Jets.
good.
Yeah. So, Bubby, just keep it in first. You got a Ferrari, bro.